right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. This is Money in the Bank 2024 edition. Michael D'Angelo, Big D, Daryl Ortiz, and this PLE. I'm just gonna say it off the bat that this PLE was probably one of the most fast and furious ones that we've had so far for this year. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was solid overall. It wasn't perfect.
I agree.
There were things I didn't like, but man, there wasn't a bad match on the card. We'll put it that way.
No, there really wasn't. I think this was you know what it is. I liked the pacing of this pay per view, or PLE.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm almost going to say pay per view still, but
it's a paper. It'll always be pay per view to us.
But I really enjoyed it because the timing of it, everything, nothing. I don't feel like there wasn't. I'm looking at my notes here. I don't think any match felt drawn out. Nope. Everything was well. You had enough of everything. I feel, and it was good. So I'm happy with it. It was enjoyable. Even
the Money in the Bank, the individual Money in the Bank matches, which that's the whole point of Money in the Bank. That's the headliner. The men's and women's matches didn't feel like long matches at all. I was a little surprised that it felt like they ended pretty abruptly, considering. But it was good. It wasn't too quick. It was, to your point, it wasn't completely drawn out. And that's actually where we started. Was the men's Money in the Bank match was the match that kicked off the show. For me, I would say this was my contestant for match of the night, but it didn't quite make it, and I'll tell you why later. But this one was a great way to start off the show. And the usual suspects, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, you knew they weren't going to win, but they had some great spots in there, including the one devastating spot down onto the ladder where they both took each other out.
Well, that's actually a callback to, he did that move to Sin Cara. Back a few years back when Sin Cara, big shout out from El Paso, awesome guy, cool guy. Cinto de Oro now, but it's the same exact spot he did, except that when he did it with Sin Cara, it was to the outside on the ladder, and that ladder ended up snapping. And I remember he showed the welts on his hamstrings after from the ladder because of the impact. So he changed it, modified it a little bit, but it still looked very brutal. It was a nice little sunset bomb. Well,
he had that. Andrade immediately got a welt on his back, and he did an inverted Spanish fly at one point. They got marked up really quickly, and everybody was just going for it. Chad Gable was good in this one. He had the multiple German suplexes, which that guy is so strong. He does that slow, drawn out lift off with the German suplex. And he did this to Drew McIntyre of all people, who's 3 times his size. He's so good. LA Knight was good in this one. Jey Uso was great in this one. Everything was, it was what you were going to expect from that group. I was a little bummed out because I think you and I both had picked Jey Uso.
We wanted Jey Uso to win.
And, the reality was I kind of figured they would have Drew McIntyre win. I thought Jey Uso deserved to win. But I figured they'd have Drew win. And Drew McIntyre did win. They did the teaser where Jey got to the top and was, it looked like he was going to get the briefcase, and then Drew kind of threw the ladder up and hit him in the face with it. And
that was a cool
climbed
spot.
Up. It was a good spot. In fact, he was able to launch the ladder like that to take him out.
He's like, I'm not going to run up these ladders. I'm just going to throw it at you in the face.
Just throw it at him. Hey, if it works, it works. But that's what I didn't like, the fact that McIntyre won because of what it meant later. And this is where I say, the outcome of Money in the Bank, at least for the men's Money in the Bank, is what bugged me. Because Drew won, and it was predictable. He had already said he was going to try to cash in that night. So you knew he was going to use the cash in, and then it was going to be off the table for the rest of the year. So we won't have a men's Money in the Bank cash in tease until next year. It's done. So that's why I was just ugh. We couldn't have just had CM Punk interfere during the men's Money in the Bank.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Him. Don't do that to Jey Uso. But go ahead.
But in all honesty and fairness, when I saw that the men's Money in the Bank match was going to be the first one, I was like, Jay's not winning this one. The reason they're doing it first is because they want to have a Money in the Bank winner for the Seth and Damian title match. And I knew that was coming, so I was like, all right, it's going to be Drew. Because I remember I've said it a few times on the show that it would be fitting to his hypocritical, persona that what he says was a cheap win on his part because of the money. He blamed the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? He was like, "This is so stupid," but then he goes and wins it to try and do the same. So again, and once I saw what was going on first, I was like, "Damn, I would have loved to see Jay win it." Yeah. I think the whole crowd wanted Jay to win it. WWE even teased us with like the poster for Money in the Bank is
the poster was him holding the briefcase. Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, damn. But I did want to mention one spot that I absolutely thought was outrageous and so cool. When Chad suplexed the ladder onto Andrade. That was cool. Like that was, I was like, damn, he just got a ladder, just flung it over his head to hit him. And then, of course, the sunset powerbomb and all that good stuff. But it was good. And then when Chad pulled the ladder on Jay. Yeah, when Chad pulled the ladder on Jay. And when Jay pulled the ladder on Chad and Chad was hanging from the ring. And then as soon as he dropped, he got back up and got hit with the spear. I thought that was a nice touch too. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a fun match. It was almost my match of the night because I was still waiting for that CM Punk interference. I was honestly waiting for Logan Paul to come out and interfere. On
I was surprised no interference happened in this one because you had the opportunity for Logan Paul to try to cost LA Knight. You had the opportunity for CM Punk to try, and it was a clean match. I'm like, this is a no disqualification match, so you can interfere. But it was squeaky clean, and it was a clean win for Drew McIntyre. This was also probably the cleanest card, except for CM Punk. This was the cleanest card top to bottom, where you're like, oh, you're not really getting interference wins. I mean, the Bloodline match is no disqualification. Like, really was more no disqualification than anything else. I mean, and technically wasn't, but it was. They were treating it that way. So that was surprising to me that we didn't have any interference at all. And obviously except for the CM Punk part, but and then right after this we had Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker.
That was a fun match.
Take us through Sami and Braun.
And you know what? I actually liked this match. It wasn't a very long match, but it was. You kind of wondered, like, is Braun gonna steamroll Sami in this match? Because Braun is clearly the more stronger, more athletic athlete, right? But he's the most brute force kind of guy, right? But they played it really well on like Sami's ring IQ and his ring awareness and his veteran status, right? On how he's well traveled and he knows his way around the ring, and he knows how to handle different opponents. So this was really, I wrote it down in my notes. It was actually like a Brain versus Braun kind of thing, and no pun intended with Braun Breaker, but Braun as in his strength.
Yeah. Sure.
But it was still an aggressive match, right? You had Braun Breaker hitting all the moves that he's known for. When he ran the ropes and just shoulder checked the hell out of Sami, that was obviously a great spot. And all that was good. I don't have many notes on it. I just enjoyed watching it for what it was, which was just like a nice, overcoming match for Sami Zayn. You knew he wasn't losing in Canada. They would have rioted, as nice as Canadians are, so I've heard. They would have probably rioted. But Sami was able to kind of overcome a tough match and retain. So I think it kind of builds on both. I think it helps Braun Breaker in that he can hang in a title match. He's not just like gonna just rely on jobbers. Like, he can actually like hold his own in the ring against a veteran like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn had a great he always does those that don't know, Sami Zayn can actually wrestle like a luchador if he wanted to. He had that sitting springboard moonsault, which was awesome. Outside the ring, he hit it beautifully, and then but then it also helps Sami to show that his grit and his determination, because Sami isn't a very big guy or an intimidating looking guy. So this really helps to kind of build him up as a champion that can defend. It's not just like, the first big guy they put him up against, he's going to drop the title. So it looks like he can actually put up a fight and scrap and defend. So it helped both. I don't think any man lost anything in this one, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it too, and it's same thing. It was a hard hitting match. Braun was playing the whole kind of overconfidence. He's doing push-ups throughout and trying to show off too much. Sami taking kind of more of the veterans approach and methodical, but also more of a roughneck approach, where Sami was being a little bit more brutal with the chops and some of the things that he was doing. And so I thought they both looked really great. Braun always looks really he's a special athlete. He makes everything look really, really easy. And so he's extremely enjoyable to watch. I did feel like he got a little bit injured at one point. Like when he hit the Frankensteiner and then he fell down on the ground after that. He stayed there for a little while and I was like, did he hurt his hamstring? And then he looked okay. And then when he did that spot where he leaped from the ring apron to do like the elbow drop onto Sammy onto the table. Mm-hmm. He was a little hobbled when he got up there. So I was like, oh, maybe he tweaked something on the Frankensteiner and then tweaked it again. But he seemed okay after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been something pretty minor. And Sammy won clean. No Sheamus, no Kaiser. That was the other thing I was curious about is like, are they going to try to bail him out here and kind of help Braun save face? I'm glad they didn't. It's like, let Sammy win clean. So this one I thought was really, really good as well. Right thing, too early to take the title off of Sammy at this point. So,
it is.
That doesn't make sense. And it didn't make Braun look bad. It is humanizing him a little bit. So he's not an unstoppable heel anymore.
Right.
But he's crazy formidable, and you'd expect that. He's going up against the Intercontinental Champion. So I thought it was really good. And then after this, non-wrestling was, it's a Trish Stratus, Stratusfaction guaranteed. And calling out John Cena with the surprise. So we'll give our brief comments here. As soon as he had the towel that said "the last time is now," I was like, "Oh no, he's retiring!" As soon as he said that,
I made note
and of that. It was a little anticlimactic though, because he does the whole "I am announcing my retirement in 2025." It was like, okay, it's the teaser campaign. So at first I was like, "Oh man, this is kind of a bummer." He's like, "This is it. He's retiring now." So he was announcing the retirement tour. So next year's his last
ride,
Royal,
so to speak, right?
His last ride, so he's doing the Royal Rumble, and then he culminated with WrestleMania as my final WrestleMania. So I'm assuming it ends at WrestleMania next year in 2025. I mean it'll be nice to see John kind of get a chance to do his farewell tour. I think it's the right time. Mm-hmm. Clearly at his age, he's got a lot of great things going on. He can't really commit to it full time anymore. I'm not wild about part-timers hanging around until they're in their 50s. Sorry, Rock. But so I think it's good that he's kind of pulling the plug now. And I hope he sticks with it. That's what I'm going to say. I hope he sticks with it. And it will be nice to see these matches kind of play out into the sunset.
Well, 2025 is going to be the year of dream matches because everyone's going to want to have that last match with John Cena, right? And so I think we're in for a treat. I really do. I think we're in for some unexpected matches. We might even see some people come back over to WWE just to have the opportunity to go up against John Cena. I had seen, and I wasn't as surprised because I had seen an interview clip. I want to say it was last week. I saw an interview clip. I don't know when it was. He was on the Kelly Clarkson show. And he was saying that he had always said he wanted to retire before he turned a certain age. And I want to say that age was like, how old is John Cena right now?
I don't know. He's like early 40s, right?
I think so. I think he said he wanted to retire. I think the whole thing was he wanted to retire before a certain age because he didn't want to be. Like, It was a head fast rule that he had in his head that he was like, I don't want to be lingering around past my prime.
He's 47.
He wanted to.
I thought he was younger. He's 47. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah,
okay.
He wanted to retire before he turned a certain age, and so that's when I saw him come out. I saw the towel, and then I kind of like the touch on the shirt on the back. It said, "After this, you can't see me." And I was like, "Yeah,
can't see me."
Yeah, because it's like he's gone, right?
He's got to make money on that merch, man. Like John Cena's always dialed in with the merchandising, so he's
you'll see it. You'll see those shirts and towels all over the arenas now. But you know what? This is going to be the last year we've seen Cena, and it's one of those athletes that we've had the privilege of watching from his very beginnings up until his very end, and it's been a great time. I booed the hell out of John Cena a few times because they gave him that treatment of like unstoppable face, but you know what? It was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I would love to see how he does in the Rumble. I love John Cena, but I hope he doesn't win the Rumble. I just hope he just has like either a good match or he has like a good run in the Royal Rumble. Maybe he makes it to the Final Four. But I'm very excited to see it. So John Cena is going to be a good one. It's going to be.
And I will say I love John Cena when he came out. I remember when he came out against Kurt Angle and did that ruthless aggression. I thought, who's this guy? And I was like, hey, this guy's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I loved the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Thugonomics is my favorite. Yeah.
The Basic Thugonomics was my ringtone. I will admit to that. I had Basic Thugonomics as my ringtone for like a year and a half. Life. So you're sitting in church and you hear "Word Life." This is basic Thugonomics. So kudos to you, John. I'll never boo you. You've had a heck of a career, and we're looking forward to seeing the culmination of that.
I agree. But
then
after that, we had another teaser, actually. Cody Rhodes cruising it with Metro Boomin, capitalizing on that Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef there. But in October, we're getting Bad Blood coming back, and I only made note of that because that was actually one of my favorite pay-per-views because it was always like there were always like heated feuds that would come to head there, and it was so much fun to watch. So I'm excited to see what matches they bring in October. Because that's going to be right before.
I say with Bad Blood, are you going to get Roman Reigns versus Solo? That's why I'm like,
no, I think
do you Cody, push it? Because I think you do that in Survivor Series. You got to.
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. You're going to see Cody, and I'll give my thoughts on the Bloodline stuff because I have a theory that I want to shoot out there. But I think the biggest thing is that I think Cody's going to have some kind of feud there. Maybe it's the culmination of the Cody and Solo feud, and then we can touch on that more later as well. But I think it would be a fun one. But after that. We had that teaser, so more details to come, to be continued, all that stuff. And then we had the World Heavyweight Championship match of Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. Of course, I like that they did the Damian Priest would turn around to the entryway, like, all right, Drew, come out. Like, I know you have it. Like, come on. Like, trying to just get it over with. But I liked in the beginning, they had that urgency. They were trying to end each other quickly and go for finishers right away because they knew Drew was going to come out. Because, like you said, they telegraphed it, right? And he went.
Yeah, they made it very clear.
Yeah, and then it was kind of each man trying to win. They had a weird near fall that I made a note of, and I had to go back and watch it. It looked like the ref counted to 3. So either Damian didn't kick out when he was supposed to. Because I know the refs in WWE, so before people start getting mad at the referee, they're instructed to count to 3, regardless. Yeah. They're instructed to count to 3. It's up to the competitors to kick out. If you ever see somebody pinned, you look at their eyes and they're looking up at the hand. That's on them to kick out. So that's Damian's fault for not kicking out.
Well,
and the whole crowd erupted. He didn't. No, he hit 3.
He did because I was sitting there and at the time and I was like, man, it's a 3 count. And because it was like 1, 2, and then he swung his hand down and then he like swung it back up right as it touched the canvas and was like 2.
And tried to go back again.
And it was like, and Damian didn't move and Seth looked confused and everyone in the front row was going 3. They were all doing that, and it was like, he counted to 3. Yeah. And the speculation I've seen on that is that they were waiting for Drew's music to hit. Yeah, and because it was timing. Because after that, there was a delay, and then all of a sudden, like a few seconds later, then the music hit. But I'm thinking, even if the music hit, that wouldn't stop the count.
Count to 3.
Like the referee would keep counting.
Well, I think what they were going to try and do was that the ref was going to go 1, 2, and as his hand's coming down, Drew's music hits, and then Seth pops up, to not be caught off guard. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's what they were thinking was going to happen. But so someone in production or somebody messed up.
Somebody messed up because it was a clear 3 count and the match should have been over. And at that point, there was no disguising it because the ref was trying to go 2, 2, and he was going 2. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like he's looking at the trucks in the camera like, out. 2.
Yeah. Well, and even Seth was like, come on, man. So that ruined the whole match. Because that was, as soon as that happened, then you had Drew come down, and then you had Samantha Irvin doing the whole complete explanation. Hey, everybody! Now that Drew McIntyre is cashing in,
and they were like,
she tried to explain it. And so they're standing there, and Drew's like standing there, and I'm like, well, this is really just taking all the air out of this. If she has to give this whole explanation of now it will be a triple threat match,
and the ref didn't have to ring the
winner.
bell again, like that was
weird. And it was awkward. It wasn't like a spontaneous cash in where it was just like hand him the briefcase. Like we know what's going on. You don't need to explain that. But everything about the timing on that just threw the whole. And you knew CM Punk was going to come out. So this is where. Nothing about it was surprising. Everything was like, okay, of course CM Punk was going to cost him. And then, at that point I figured, because I had originally picked Seth Rollins to win, because I thought the Judgment Day was going to come down and interview and interfere, and they were going to pay off that storyline. So no Judgment Day. They didn't pay off any of that. And then CM Punk comes out and costs everything. And that's it. And now Seth Rollins can apparently never challenge for the world title as long as Damian Priest has it. Which that's the only element that I liked about it was that you had Seth Rollins at the end jawing at CM Punk like, hey, what the heck, man?
Like, you just screwed me. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one I was just like, as soon as all that happened. Well, and it's mostly with the time. I get why they did it from a storyline standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if it would have been cleaner. Yeah, it would have looked a lot better, cleaner. And I liked the aggressiveness. Like CM Punk was, I think at one point was choking Drew McIntyre with an ox cord. Like that was nuts.
Yeah. He's like wrapping the cord.
Yeah, and then he just grabs the title.
The cables around him.
Yeah,
when he beat him with the chair multiple times, and he got the title and hit him. So it's like all that was great. All that was great.
I loved it. Yeah, it's just the timing of it just threw it all off. It did.
Well, and the timing was bad. And did you really need to sacrifice the Money in the Bank briefcase to that? Like you've already established these two hate each other. You've already established that CM Punk has cost him multiple times. Did you really need to burn the Money in the Bank briefcase for the men for the next year just to add it to this story that's already sold? Everybody's already sold on this story. It didn't need anything else. So it feels like a waste. I'm like, you could. Well, I don't understand sacrificing it, but yeah.
Here's the thing. If you noticed, when, of course, the tension's brewing between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I don't know if you noticed when he said, I'm going to go do this, y'all stay here or whatever. Finn kind of was like, give him that scolding look as he was walking away. And he was like, whatever you say, boss. And I'm kind of thinking now that there's no Money in the Bank briefcase. I think they're going to start the feud between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Because now what's going to happen is you have an opportunity at Bad Blood to have the demon Finn Balor come out, reappear,
that'd be cool,
and take the title off of Damian Priest, and that's kind of kicking him off the mountaintop and becoming the head of Judgment Day, right? And so that's kind of how you. I think maybe that's how you go. I mean, it would be cool to see because it'll be like
it'd be cool to see.
It's kind of like you see Finn Balor all smiles and friendly with Damian Priest, but then when he turned around, he was like just complete change, and I was like, ooh, that would be nice. But a man can dream. But that's what ended up happening.
Oh yeah. Well, and I'm wondering, but I'm because the next program is going to be now Gunther versus Damian Priest.
Yeah, at SummerSlam. That's why I didn't say for SummerSlam. I'm like, that's gonna because it's SummerSlam he's going to get.
And that's why I'm wondering, did they pull the trigger on that earlier? Maybe Finn Balor joins Imperium. Move Finn over to Imperium. You've got an open spot. They haven't filled Giovanni Vinci's yet. I don't know. We'll see. But they're building obviously to the big blow up between those two. So it's coming. It's coming. We'll see how it plays out.
But then after that, we had my match of the night. I don't know if it was yours. Was the women's Money in the Bank? Yeah. So I'll let you go that one.
Match of the night. Well, yeah. I mean, this one was similar to. It was a spot fest, very similar to the men's match. Which and this one I'll say it was every bit as much, maybe even a little bit more brutal at times than the men's matches with some of the spots. They really went for it. This was and that's where I was like they were so close in terms of the men's and the women's Money in the Bank. This one I gave the edge to because the right person won. Tiffany won. I had called Tiffany Stratton as the winner. She made the most sense to be the winner. They teased a little bit that it was going to be Chelsea Green heading in because it's like she's the home country favorite. Yeah, home country favorite. But I was like, no, it's definitely going to be Tiffy time. But this thing was just fantastic. Everyone involved was great. You knew Naomi was in there to do great spots and to be cannon fodder, which she was. Same thing with the Io Sky. Same thing with Zoe. So it's like you knew all that was coming, but this one was just really, really tremendous. And it was the right amount of time too. So it was fast and furious. And then you got to that end sequence where Tiff ended up pushing Chelsea Green through the table off the ladder, and she took the table spot through, which we didn't even see a spot that extreme really in the men's match. So I was like, oh, good on Chelsea Green to do that. They already played that she's afraid of heights thing, and then so she was kind of wobbled on the top, and then they just knocked her over, and Tiff ended up winning. So this one was great, but give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I right from the get, I liked the, me, I love me some comedic wrestling too, right? And Chelsea she's the queen of it. I feel like the way she does it is just so funny and good. Like she comes out like pandering to the crowd because she's typically a heel, But she comes out like in she comes out in like she's like cosplaying as Trish Stratus with the hat and everything, and the Canadian maple leaves all over her and all that. And I thought that was cool. You know, of course, 'cause she's from Canada, everyone was like, "Oh my god," cheering for her. And it was so cool. But then being afraid of heights, I love how she like climbed up the ladder and she was like, she got like 3 steps up and she was like, nope. And she got down and just like threw the ladder out of the ring. But she looked so confused when the match started and everyone went out to get a ladder and she's just like in the middle, like looking around for a.
She's just like jumping up, starts trying to jump to reach it.
yes, just little things like that. And then when she gets the ladder, she's trying to use the ladder to like poke it or whatever. And I'm like, you know, it's stuff like that. I think is great. It's funny. It made me laugh. I thought it was a good add to it. Zoe Stark kind of scared me a couple times. She needs to work on her cleanliness. Unfortunately, she had one where she did, I think it was like a fall-away slam.
Well, she banged the back of her head, right? At one point
before that, she got Lyra Valkyrie. Yeah. She did like a fall-away slam, but Lyra caught like her shoulder, like under her, like all this part, on the edge of the ladder. She didn't hit the ladder. Yeah. She hit like her arm, and I was like, "Ooh, you could dislocate something like that." And then after that, that's when she tried to do the moonsault. She hit her head. She missed and hit her head on the edge of the ladder, and I'm like, I think she was kind of out of it for a little bit. And I was like, maybe it was just mistimed or just the ladder wasn't in the right place. But hopefully she's okay because that was scary to see. And then you also had, you know, the finish was great. You know, you had, of course, Io doing Io things. You had Naomi doing Naomi things, and it was all fun. It was all great. It was fast, and I liked at the end when you had Chelsea up there. The crowd was blowing up; they're erupting. The crowd, they wanted Chelsea to win, you know. And part of me kind of wanted to, just because it's like that'd be cool to see her walk around with the Money in the Bank briefcase, but she probably would never cash it in, because she'd be so like unsure,
so much hesitation.
But the way they did it, where Tiffany Stratton, you know, was like, I'm gonna shake the ladder because she's afraid of heights, calling back to that, and she like got scared and she like hung on for dear life, and then she ran up and just shoved her down, not only to the tables that were set up outside, the tables that her and Chelsea set up outside. They both set them up together. So Chelsea kind of signed her own death wish there by setting up the tables with Tiffany Stratton, because Tiffany just ran up and just shoved her down. She took that spot like a champ. Like she hit it clean, and it was devastating because you're talking about what, a 15, 20-foot ladder?
Yeah.
The ring's still about a good 3 feet above the ground. Yeah. So she fell up, got, you know, a good 20 feet, 23, 25 feet, you know, for sure, onto that ground. And, you know, she was fine. That's great. It was a good spot. It was amazing. Tiffany got it. And I like the backstage thing where she kind of barked at Trish Stratus, and I was like, that was interesting. I wonder what they're going to do with that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like. Are they going to build to a her versus Trish Stratus?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
They might, because that's where it felt like, okay, you're trying to do a pass the torch thing with Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus, which is like the synergy with their names too, the TS. Stratton and Stratus, and it did feel a little bit like, hey, are they going to kind of tease something down the road with these two? Maybe at, like, you know, Survivor Series, or maybe at WrestleMania next year. Like they're trying to lay the groundwork for it a little bit. And I know Trish is getting a little long in the tooth, so probably sooner than later they would need to do something. But that was interesting.
It was, but not more interesting than the Bloodline versus Cody, Randy, and KO. That was a physical match, and I did note in this one, y'all can fight me in the comments, I don't care. Jacob Fatu was amazing in this match. He shined immensely, and he showed so much of his uncle Umaga. He showed so much, as far as like even the way he did the Samoan drop on Randy Orton. That was like, it looked just like the way Umaga used to do it.
Yeah, it was very fluid, very fluid. The way that he performed it just looked good.
It looked great, and just his overall ring presence. I will tell you, I'm a huge fan of Jacob Fatu. I love it. You know, everything about him. It looks great, and Solo using the spear was very interesting to see. Because again, calling back to him being the head of the table, he comes out in like the red thing, of course, the red lei. I forget the proper name for it, so forgive me. I'll figure it out for next time. But I know he comes out in that, and he, you know, they do their entrance and all that good stuff. They similar to how the Bloodline, you know, what Roman used to do. He kind of mirrors a lot of what Roman used to do. And then I liked when they took out everyone except for Solo, and each of the faces took their turns hitting their finishers on Solo in the ring. I thought that's where the match was going to end, but I was like, wow, it's too early for that. Instead, they throw him out, and they set him up for a shield bomb on the table, which I was like, ooh, that's a nice touch. But who breaks it up? Jacob breaks it up from happening. And so that was good to see. The other part I liked, the poor ref, man, he could not catch a break. Every time he got back up, he get knocked back down. That was great. He could not catch a break. That ref was knocked over so many times. It was just ridiculous. But at the end of it, there's a lot that happened in the closing segment, and I just kind of wanted to break it down there. So Cody was hitting his third crossroad on Solo, right? How many did he use to beat Roman? 3. And so as he was about to hit the third one, that's when Jacob just springboards off the freaking ropes in the corner and hits like an insane twisting cannonball type move, which was awesome to see. Takes Cody out and then holds him up so that Solo can hit the Samoan spike. And right before he does that, though, he looks right into Cody's face and he says, "Acknowledge me," and then he hits him, and then that's how he ends the match, right? But what's more important about that is that you remember Paul Heyman had told Solo that before Roman left, he said that Cody is not someone you can handle. You don't handle. Roman will do it. Well, Roman lost to Cody. He hasn't beat Cody. But you know who has? Solo. He pinned Cody clean, middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. And now has a right to say that he's earned a shot at the title, because he's done something that the former head of the table could not, and that was beat Cody Rhodes. And that's the thing. They even said it on commentary how they were like, well, he always said that Roman did the bloodline a disservice by losing the title to Cody and all that stuff. So there's a lot of story that went into this match. It wasn't a very long match. Again, I felt it was the right amount of time. There's a lot of great spots. Randy Orton just hitting RKOs on everyone until Solo hits him with the Samoan spike. They're building Solo up, right? And Randy sold the hell out of that spike. It looked good. He even did the same thing that Roman used to do when he was like, Cody wants in first, and Cody's like, "Come on, you and me," and then he goes in and then he stops and he tags in. He tagged in Tama Tonga. And he's like, "Nah," the kind of same thing that Roman used to do. You know what I mean? Like, "Nah, you're not worthy of me." Like, it's kind of like a lot of mirroring, but then he one ups it. So I thought it was a great match. To me, it was good. There was obviously there was interference. The low blow where it was kind of awkward. That was my only complaint. That low blow because
where he doubled up on it because I think he
punched him in the butt.
He hit the first one and then he comes back and hit him. Yeah.
But then he almost punches his brother in the head in doing so.
Yeah, I was like, he that one got a little hinky jinky at the end. Yeah, it was a great match. To your point, like the pacing was really excellent, especially on a night that had so many great matches, so many hard hitting matches. This one fit right in. It continued the storyline. You knew the Bloodline was going to continue to win. There was no way the Bloodline was going to lose because they're building their credibility as the new faction, and they're building towards Roman returning. So that made a lot of sense. I had the same feeling about Jacob Fatu. This was his showcase match. It's like they really showcased him as not only a formidable threat just to the roster, but to all these top guys. Like he did a lot of no selling. He did the no selling of the draping DDT from Orton, and then immediately jumped up. I'm never a huge fan of no selling a lot, but I know why they're doing it because they're trying to enforce that he's this wild enforcer that's on another level. And so they've immediately built him up to be and he was the one coming in with all the saves. And he's the one that came in with the save on the triple powerbomb. He came with the save at the end. So he was excellent in this. He was really, really good. I think this was a good way to get him established as being able to hang with the top guys. And pretty understandable how the outcome was going to be. My knock on it is, again, they're making Cody look a little weak sometimes. Like they have a tendency to do that. They did this as the AJ Styles feud as well, where he tends to get bamboozled and tends to get hung out to dry. And same thing again here, got pinned by Solo. So I wish they wouldn't do that to Cody so much. I get why he's doing it. He's trying to put guys over. He's trying to continue the storyline. He's trying to do the right thing and give back. But sometimes I feel like they do it a little too much with Cody. But it was a really good match, and it plays well into the continuation for the story. So, and it was a strong way to end the night on a night of really great matches. This wasn't one where it was like, oh, it's a little underwhelming. No, it was great. It was really, really strong, and it went on just enough to keep everybody engaged. And when it was time to wrap up, they wrapped it up and got out there. So, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a good cap to the evening.
I agree. I think it was great. And overall, the PLE as a whole, in my opinion, was like an A plus, borderline A plus, just because the timing It felt smooth.
Yeah.
Nothing dragged on. I always worry about the Money in the Bank matches because sometimes they need to give, rightfully so, you need a break because it's a spot fest, right? But everything went really well. I like Tiffany winning.
Yeah.
Wasn't a big fan of Drew winning, but I knew why. Championship match had its blunders here and there, but it is what it is. It furthers the story, multiple stories now, but that final match was awesome to see. Sami Zayn look good. I mean, everyone came out looking stronger, and I think that's the whole point of these PLEs is that you're supposed to build each week, add the layers, and then this is where you put like the final show on display, and then you add to it more, right? So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious to see what happens on Raw. I'm curious to see what happens on SmackDown. There were some hints in the pre-show. I think Big E was dropping lines from AJ Lee's theme song. So I don't know if he was just being funny, being Big E, or if he was
just trolling everybody. Or
yeah, because that got people talking too. And then the other thing too that I wanted to kind of touch on about this whole Bloodline thing is that now you have Bloodline 2.0. They're building to having a Bloodline Civil War, right? So you already have 4 with Solo, Guerrillas of Destiny, and Jacob Fatu, and then you have Roman Reigns and the Usos. That's only 3. I remember we were talking about who could be the 4th one. Well, there is an opportunity there for one more, and that's Zilla Fatu. And if y'all don't know who he is, look him up. That is Umaga's son, and he actually has him tatted like on his chest. And that man is an animal in the ring. Really, really cool guy in the ring. Love seeing him. I don't know if they'll bring him over. I know he's indie right now. I don't know if they'll bring him over. It would be cool to have like the full dynasty there because it's their opportunity to shine right now and have it culminate at Survivor Series and have him be like a mystery partner because he can make the argument that Solo wasn't next in line for the throne. It should have been him because he is, the son of Umaga, and that's, the hierarchy, the way it goes, right? But he's not listed on the family tree, so that's where the whole forgotten son kind of thing could be coming to fruition. People forget about him, but again, I hope that's what happens because that could be a nice 4th member for the original Bloodline, and because they could do like solid Bloodline against the rest, the OG Bloodline and like the current Bloodline, and it would be a nice 4-on-4 right there. But I don't know unless they bring The Rock back to wrestle with the OG Bloodline, but who knows? But
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Yeah, I'm curious about how The Rock, because The Rock's not done with Cody's story. He said that he wasn't done with that. So I presume they would bring The Rock back at some point, but who knows? It'll be interesting to see how it plays out because they still got a team to fill out if they get to Survivor Series. And yeah, I would say this PLA gets an A. I won't give it an A+. I'm gonna give it an A, except for the shenanigans with the finish in the World Championship match were a little much for me. The Money in the Bank briefcase getting wasted for the men's side, but it's still an A show. It was great, strong show, really, really good. I was thoroughly wrestling entertained, as we like to say around here.
Yes.
So it was great, and I'm curious to see the continuation of what happens on Monday night and the continuation with the Wyatt Six and how that's going to continue to play out.
We had no Wyatt Six on the show, which was interesting.
No,
I thought when Chad was up on the ladder, I thought that was going to hit. I thought the lights were going to cut out.
Well, I did too. That was the other interference I was wondering about, and I'm like, no, we didn't get it. We didn't get any of that. So we'll see.
Good.
They are all about. They are all about. Yeah, good. I'm glad they didn't have interference. They talk a lot about like they're going after people that are betraying their families. Just have them attack the bloodline, like during the Bloodline Civil War. It's like there's your opportunity for everybody if you want to go after somebody that's betrayed their family, everybody gets taken out. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was Money in the Bank 2024 in a nutshell, short and sweet, and looking forward to how things will play out on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And that's what we got this week. But we appreciate y'all as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments if you think we're full of it, or if you don't, if you agree with us, disagree with us, or just want to talk about wrestling, because that's what we love to do. We really do appreciate the support here, and that's what we got. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We'll see you soon. Until next time, take care of yourselves and have a great week.